and I will hand it over to you two.
Cool. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Pretty
Hanging
good.
in there? So I realized it's been a little bit since I've seen you all, because I feel like 24 weeks flew by pretty quickly. So congratulations, first of all, for making it this far. And I've heard really good things, and I feel like I need cool glasses now that I'm looking at everybody's shades they have going on here. So I welcome any tips on how to do that. But as we approach the last couple days of your classes and your graduation, which is coming up on September 8th, we wanted to come back and check in with you and also share an exciting opportunity to maybe kind of shake off some of those job interview nerves and things like that, and join us in the Lemoyne Career Fair. And so with that, I just want to share a couple things with you. I can find the right screen, I'll share it. Welcome to everybody who's just getting here. All right, there we go. So as part of our Erie 21 program at Lemoyne College, you being in Careers in Code for the first time this year are invited to join the Lemoyne College Career Fair, which is going to be held on Thursday, September 22nd. It's from 3:30 to 5:30, and it will be in the Athletic Center at Lemoyne College. And so this is really a great opportunity for you, if you are able to, and your schedule allows, to have you come to Lemoyne, dressed to impress, whatever that means to you, and get to really walk around and network and start to make connections with some local employers and really kind of put yourself out there in a safe space. So myself, Kanan, a few other staff members, hopefully Jesse or Max or somebody from the team will be able to come to the career fair and be there to kind of support you along the way, kind of be a check-in for you if you need help or want us to help you make an introduction to someone. But really, I just wanted to pull up the list of employers that have already registered for the career fair. So what this is our traditional fall career fair at the college. And for the first time ever, it's being open to you all and to our Lock 4 certificate program students and anyone who's participated in Hack Upstate Careers in Code in the past. So we really want to use our network that we have at Lemoyne to help support all of you, because you are an extension of our Lemoyne family at this point. So with that, I wanted to just, again, remind you, so the details coming up September 22nd, 3:30 to 5:30. It'll be at Lemoyne College and it will be in person. There will be some virtual opportunities for some companies that maybe aren't there or don't have the right perhaps jobs and postings that you're thinking about. And what I would say to that, and I think Kanan will go a little bit into this after I'm done, is that even if you see a company that you're like, I don't really know anything about that company, they couldn't possibly need software developers, you never know. And you never know who knows somebody else. And so I think that everybody on this list could be worth your time. And I think that you are all very much worth their time and having a conversation with them. So I think the important part for you would be to see all the different employers. So we're already up over 50 employers and more to come. Their last employer registration deadline, I think, is the week before. So there is a very, very strong possibility that more people will sign up. But you'll see here we have AIG, we have Amazon, Ascension, BHG, Carrier, Catholic Charities, Central New York Psychiatric, Circare, Consolidated Electrical Distributors. So I'm not going to read them all. Constellation Brands is another one that's really been looking for a lot of entry-level software developers and also cybersecurity positions. So we are really have great relationships with them. So I'll send this link to you and you can really kind of go through and see all the different employers that are on here and start to really research them. This page, so this is called Handshake. So if you're a Lemoyne College student, you would have access to this page, this platform called Handshake. You should all be able to get on here even though you don't have accounts. But you can link right to the company's websites to start to look and see if you think the company's mission and values and vision meet where you want to be and where you want to work. And from there, you can kind of start to prioritize where you might want to go and who you might want to stop and see. And so with that, how many of you, I guess just by show of hands, how many of you have been to a career fair or have done anything like that in the past? Shantina, Zachary, Christy, Stephanie, Larry. Okay, so a lot of you. So some of this is old hat, right? You're going to have known how to do it. This is going to be a breeze. Some of you, it might be new. And so with that, we are going to be scheduling a information session and kind of just Q&A for you all to meet via Zoom with us one night to just kind of go through what you're thinking. What do you need help with? If you want to know, how do I approach an employer that I've never talked to before? How do I just kind of blindly go in there and introduce myself? We'll be giving you some space to do that with us, and also looking to help you refresh your resumes if you need that and that kind of thing. So I will pause there for a second and see if anybody has initial questions, or Amanda, this is crazy. It's too much information. We don't have time for this. That's fine too. Whatever you think. Larry, did you have something? I thought I might have seen your hand up, but it might have just been.
No, I think it was just my pen.
Oh, okay. Or your fly sunglasses. I'm not sure which ones. All right, so I'll put some links in the chat, and what I want you to do, and I will send this out via email, is take a look. There's an RSVP. I created a Google form for you so that if you are interested in coming, you can RSVP here, and that will prompt us to follow up with you and make sure that you are ready to go. I do recognize that 3:30 to 5:30 is a tough time. This is the first time we're trying something like this. So this is the undergraduate career fair that is already happening. So, we're kind of taking advantage of a resource that's already there. With that being said, if you can't make it and are interested in connecting with some of the employers, we could certainly try to help you bridge that, make that connection. Larry, do I see your hand now? Okay.
It says we need permission to access the form.
Ah, geez. Okay. While Kanan's talking, I will edit that permission. And I will also put the link to the Handshake website so you can see all the different employers, and then you'll receive more information from us via email. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we have a new program manager starting for Erie 21 who will work with Hack Upstate along with Center State and our other partners to deliver all of our Lock 4 adult education programs. Her name is Taylor Hodge. She works right now for MACNY and will be joining us. MACNY is the Manufacturers Association. She'll be joining us this Friday for her first day. So she will be reaching out to you periodically, and I'll be making some email introductions, but just keep your eyes on some emails from her in the coming days, and we will get you all geared up for this program. But I'm going to kick it over to Kanan to share a little bit about why these things matter and why career development is just as important as that content that you've been hammering in for the last 24 weeks. But yeah, so Kanan, take it away.
All right, folks. So I am dropping some contact information in the chat for anyone who does not have it. Okay, so some of the reasons why even though you feel like you are buried by the curriculum, it's very important for you to step out and discuss the kind of things that you're learning with employers. Amanda got into it a little bit, but part of the big thing that you do by attending events like these and like-minded events is expanding your network, meaning that you have more opportunities, more people to reach out to when you're looking for opportunities, and more people that you can send your applications through when you find an opportunity that you like. But one of the biggest things is that you might not, so there's the way that jobs come about, right? The particular cycle, a need will arise within a company. The company decides as like a unit that they do need to create a position to fill that need, right? Or it's a position that has already been created and they need to fill that position. They'll start by asking around, folks in the office who, if they know anybody from their network, do they have anybody who will be a good fit for that position? Do you have anybody who kind of has a good skill set that we can reach out to, get a resume from, and interview, right? After they do that, then they reach out to their external connections, people with other organizations that they've been close with, friends, family, right? So from the office, to the friends and family. They try to promote from within, grab friends and family from that group or out of that network, right? And then after it goes past those first two initial layers of people who are in the know of that organization, so to speak, then it goes on to starts getting uploaded onto the company website as a job description and hits the internet, and then goes on the job boards and things of that nature, right? So I say that to say there's two whole stages that somebody who's not connected to these networks miss out on for positions to even apply. Before you're applying, you're getting filled by people who are more closely related to the employer, right? And so part of the advantage that we bring, and part of the reason why we have such high levels of employer engagement in all of our programs, is so that you'll have the opportunity, A, to know about some of these positions as they open up, and B, have the opportunity to apply to some of these positions to people who know what's going on in that particular industry, that particular organization, and can put a word in for you before it gets to that bigger open realm of competition against, the whole, at this point with remote work, against the whole world, right? So kind of the who connecting you to things is very, very important. So you build your network by attending events like these. You build your information network by attending events like these. You have more people to reach out to find resources. You have more people to reach out to offer your services to. Another big thing that happens at these events is the conversations that naturally come about from being put in these environments over and over and over. It's a bit of a speed dating type of speed interviewing kind of situation where you're going to meet multiple different employers not all at the same time, but within the same time frame. You have an opportunity to practice your elevator pitch over and over and over with different employers to gauge reaction, see what is working for which particular type of employers. You have the opportunity to practice on asking questions to employers and see which kind of questions really make employers get excited to answer and which ones are kind of, more routine. So going through these methods, the higher amount of transactions you have with the employers, the better you are able to gauge what is, successfully selling yourself or not, right? So it's that aspect of actually honing your skill and that communication ability and telling the employer what they want to hear as far as it relates to what you're able to bring to the table, right? So connecting your skill set to how you explain your skill set in a satisfactory manner is a very important thing to do. There's one thing to know how to do some stuff, and it's another thing to explain that you know how to do some stuff, right? And then yet again, another thing to teach somebody about some things that you know how to do. So all kind of different variations of, again, outside of the curriculum, more of the human interaction element that is required to actually get your foot in the job with all the skills that you spent time gaining. Any questions so far? Does all that make sense? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and then I would say that once we kind of get out of the way, how the transactional nature of having a lot of these interactions jam-packed into one event, allowing you to hone your skills, sharpen your pitch, build your network, is finding out the way that your skill set fits within the environment as it is at large. There's a lot of employers there. You can kind of gauge what your current qualifications can get, the type of positions that your current qualifications can get you, and with different employers, because those same qualifications are applied in different ways depending on the environment that the company is in, right? So again, you'll find out things about positions that you could fill that you, A, might not even knew existed, B, may or may not be very interested in, and C, could put you in position to reach your career aspects a little bit sooner, right? So things along that line are also extraordinarily valuable reasons. You talk to the employers, you find out what kind of openings they have, and then you can ask how your skill sets fit into those openings. And all of that to say is you want to start thinking about your career development. You guys have spent a long time acquiring the skills, and now you want to think about how the way you apply those skills sequentially, right, to your first opportunity to your second opportunity to your third opportunity. You kind of want to draw that chain out yourself and start to get yourself a career path, right? I know how to do this right now. I would like to get a position that will give me the optimal challenge, meaning that I know enough to be able to complete the responsibilities, but I'll have to learn more to actually fill the position, right? And being in that position can actually teach me those things. I'll be immersed in the environment where I'll be learning those things on the job, kind of the optimal challenge, right? So you want your first step to be something like that, where you bring in these skills already, you feel comfortable in some areas you feel like you really have to push yourself to grow, and then that growth takes place, you become better, you fill up your resume more, and now you're ready for another opportunity, right? So kind of figure, you want to start thinking about how you're going to stack those opportunities, right? In sequence. Are you looking at an employer that you feel you could be at for a long time, right? Is it a culture there? Just, something about it that really makes you agree with their mission or their logo or their colors or how the office is set up, right? Whatever your motivation is. Do they have a pathway forward for you there? Do they have already their own advanced career ladder? What is the length of time for candidates to be promoted after doing good works? All of these kind of questions are things that you can ask at a job fair, right? Or any setting with employers, and help you kind of build out that framework for where do I want to go? How can I get paid for my skill set while acquiring another skill set, right? And then how will that opportunity leverage my, second step, my third step, my fourth step, my final step? So kind of, what is your ultimate goal? Where would you like to take this skill, right? You have it on the, for most of us, we're kind of just breaking into this industry. We're just getting our foot in the door. So we're thinking first step, right? What is our first step? Once you kind of figure out an idea for your first step, you want to attach those second, third step, get your final step and to kind of work backwards, right? So if you want to be in a particular position, but there's an organization that only promotes from within, right? Or 90% of their promotions are from within, and they really invest into their employees. They really have a lot of professional development. Those are things that you can kind of find out in these type of environments as well. How much are they hiring from the outside versus promoting from within, right? And kind of gauging what kind of experiences you want to get yourself into, what kind of positions you want to apply to based on kind of the long-term trajectory. Or, because again, you can always move organizations, right? What is the skill set I will acquire, perform in this position, and will it lead me to my ultimate goal of being, whatever that is. And so I dropped my Calendly link in the chat and my email address. So if people want to kind of talk through some of this stuff on a more individual level and personalize it, that's one of the big things that I do. So I'm super open to that. And just excited to get everybody out, everybody in the group and the job fair, and we can kind of run down at employers and see what's going on. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any, but thanks, Kanan.
Absolutely.
I also dropped all the links into Slack as well, so you have access to them even after this meeting. And then anything that Amanda sends along, I will also make sure that gets to all of you guys.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks,
The
Max.
career fair is an awesome opportunity. Use Kanan beforehand, get your prep work done, get your resume shaped up.
Absolutely.
There are very few opportunities to meet face-to-face with 50 employers, and this is an awesome opportunity. Remember that you want to make an impact. The hardest part about getting a job is getting your foot in the door. So
Right.
being able to go to these career fairs and being able to make an impression, and when you hand over your resume, have a conversation with them, right? Make sure you stick out to them in some way, shape, or form. It's the easiest way to get started in this job process is getting a foot in the door. And this Lemoyne Job Network is being open to you guys. So take advantage of it. I know it's a tough time for some people, but using the career fair, using Kanan, using Amanda. It's just take advantage of this opportunity. I know you guys are
Absolutely.
heads down on your capstone, but the program, when it ends really quick. And now all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're gonna have those 12 to 20 hours a week that you've been devoting to class time. And I would recommend, don't lose momentum. Don't think, oh, program's done, I'm finished. Take that time and channel it right into your job search and your career jump starting, because that is what this program is all about, right? It's not just code, it's careers in code. So take advantage of
Absolutely.
those resources.
Max, you can just have my job. You did such, that was a beautiful,
Right.
beautiful summary of what we're trying to say.
Nice tight too.
Right. One other quick note, we do know that that time is tough. And I think that if there is a demand for students in Lock 4, Erie 21 programs and beyond to come to this, I think we can explore that in the future, moving that back later. But I do want to say we are working on planning and meet the candidates, employer and potential candidate networking night for October. So we are solidifying dates and some parameters around that, and kind of viewing that as an opportunity. If you haven't found your fit yet, that's a good way to network some more. Networking is never going to hurt you, regardless of whether or not you have a job. You don't want to go to the well when you need the water, right? Like you want to dig the well and have your network ready to go, so that when you're ready to make a move or you're starting to think about what's next, you already have that network. So we will be sending out more information about that as well in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that.
And the thing is, first of all, if you know, that time, that 3:30 to 5:30 is super tight for you, you don't have to come for the entire period. If you got a 15 minutes, a 20-minute interval within there that you could pop in for a minute and meet some highlighted employers that, you had your eyes on prior, that works as well. But it's really good to see after you do a couple of these things and you really, get used to shaking hands and starting conversations. You kind of take that boogeyman out of the employer, right? And it's just a person who is there because they're looking for people with your exact talents. They're there to find you, right? And once you kind of go through it a couple of times, you get used to it and you start to realize it's an even playing field. It's not necessarily a leverage thing. They're out there recruiting the talent. You're the talent. It's a beautiful match, and it really is about finding, like I was saying, what's going to be a good fit for you yourself. And how can you build your career into what you envision it to be? So yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
It took my last relationship for me to realize that networking was a skill. It was not just something that is an innate talent, right? It's something that you build up with over time. And the best way to do it is just get out there and practice, right? Those conversations feel awkward. They're tough. It feels weird to brag about yourself, but that's what these job fairs are, right? They are looking for you as much as you are looking for them. And so that networking is just so important, because even if you don't get the job this time or they don't have the position open, you get your resume on file, you keep in touch with them, you reach out 3 months or 6 months later, and now all of a sudden you've shown your ambition and shown, hey, I'm managing these connections. One thing I recommend is take notes, right? Because you're going to talk to several employers. Once you're done talking to the employer, don't just go to the next one. Jot down who you talked to, ask them for a business card, jot down what you talked about, what positions are available, because it's going to be a whirlwind. If you're there for the full 2 hours, you're going to get to the end of that job fair and be like, what did I just do? My God, I need a coffee. Right. And so make sure, bring a notebook with you, and maybe not in the middle of the conversation, but right after, before you move on to the next employer, jot down those notes.
Absolutely.
And all of this and more can be discussed at our upcoming info session, which we will send you the date. So we will let you know. And also one-on-one, if you can't make whatever info session dates, we can connect with you one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Okay. We won't take up any more of your class time. Kane, I don't know if you have anything else, but
I have
just
a question.
Yeah, sure.
Does one of those links have the list of employers?
yep. So there's Oh, it's a very long link. But it's Lemoyne, it's Handshake at Lemoyne College. So I just popped that one in.
Oh, so we need to make an
send that.
account?
So you don't have to make an account to see the employers.
does
To
make
register,
you-
you'll have to make an account, but you, since you don't have a lemoyne.edu address, you'll just RSVP through that Google form I sent, and then I will register you for the career fair. So you don't have to worry about making an account or anything like that.
It won't let us see even the employer list without an
Oh,
account.
okay.
I don't know if someone has tried to make an account yet, but if you hit a roadblock on that, maybe it's possible to make a PDF of that, Amanda, and we can share it
Yeah,
out.
I can definitely download this for you and I'll send that along too, but it should work without having, because there's another thing that says sign in, but all right, I'll play around with that and then I will get that link to you as well.
So
So,
think
if
you
Thank
you
you.
go,
I
if you
think
go into
go to
incognito
learn
mode,
more and then go to who's hiring. That shows you this. That's weird.
Go to the link and then go to who's hiring.
Yeah, so learn more and then
Learn
you go
more.
to who's hiring. Shows a list.
Gotcha.
so hold on, do you mind, Max? I'll pull this up real quick and show people what so if you go to this page, so I can put this link back in the chat one more time, because this is just a public link. So anybody should be able to get on here. And then if you just go to all employers, that's where everybody is listed. So I'll put it back in there. Again, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So try that out. And then if it doesn't work, either way, I'll get you a list so that you can check it out. Because it's iterative, it'll keep changing as the next few weeks go on too. So we'll make sure you get updates. But we will try it out and see.
And
We'll have some growing pains initially, but we'll get there. So,
804.
all right.
And then COU.
Always good to see everybody.
Yes, congratulations. You're almost there.
Almost there.
We can't wait till the
Excellent.
8th to celebrate you all. And please reach out if you want to talk or need anything, any additional supports. We are, we're not in the classroom with you every day, but we are in your corner and we are very much here to help you as much as we possibly can, because we want you to succeed. So whatever we can do, we will help you do that. And if you can't make the career
Absolutely.
fair, let me know. We can help connect you to the employers anyways. Okay.
Lock for is
Thank
one big happy family with the
One big
sports
happy
apprenticeship
family.
and Center State and the certificate programs and careers and code. So definitely take advantage of those resources.
Sure, it's a whole ecosystem.
All right, friends,
Really happy
good
to have
luck.
you guys in it.
We will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, everyone.
You too.
All right, let's kick it off. What did you learn last week?
Oh my God. I learned that
Absolutely
I don't
nothing,
like
right?
Heroku.
Nathan just came in and you just hung out and, it was a nice chill week.
No.
Actually, learned a lot. It was chill, but
Heroku
we
is the devil.
Yeah, we learned Heroku.
Heroku, Git, connecting our database to Heroku as
Yeah,
opposed
we
to
reviewed
having
GitHub.
Turns
Review.
out those full stack deploys are a little bit harder than one might have imagined, huh?
We learned that Nathan stayed on until 10 o'clock at night to get us up and running. There's a lot going on.
So I am not a huge fan of DevOps. I think it is somewhat of a necessary evil in the world. I am glad that the industry has recognized that forever and ever it was, oh, well, developers do the deploys. And then IT got involved and they were like, well, this is all infrastructure, right? So, maybe we should be managing this. And then over time, it kind of evolved and going, wow, this is a full-time job, just managing these servers and figuring out how to deploy to them. That's like a full-time job. You could hire someone to do just that. And so in the past, I'll say 10 years or so, DevOps, developer operations, has become kind of a new title at a company. And when a company normally reaches a certain size, they recognize that, hey, my developers are really good at developing code, and my IT guys are really good at running the company. But there's this missing gap, right, between bridging those two together. And that's really where DevOps has taken off in the past 10 years or so. So there are some people that really enjoy DevOps. I personally find whenever I have to do DevOps that you kind of like bang your head against the wall until there's a hole in it and then you're done and the deploy's finished. But there are some people that really enjoy DevOps and kind of the configuration of all of it. So something to keep in mind in the back of your head of, we consider anyone launching a new career in tech after this program to be a success. So if you come out of last week and you're like, DevOps is my jam, that's what I want to be doing 40 hours a week, that is a great opportunity to go into that. And just like full stack developers, there is a huge demand for DevOps and that whole.
So DevOps just basically runs the deploys and everything. Like what exactly would a day, like pretty much all that we learned is from Nate is DevOps.
Yes, that is all. Everything that Nathan taught is all DevOps. It is all about setting up new servers. It's about scaling servers so that when you have a lot of users, your servers can take that load. It's about configuration of deploys. It's about CI/CD, which I'm not sure if he touched on, continuous integration and continuous deployment of how can we set up our Git repo so that when we merge into the main branch, it automatically deploys for us. It's working with developers to figure out what kind of configuration and requirements they have. It's about dealing with test suites and making sure that when code is deployed, it's fully tested, whether that's automated testing or going through some QA process. It is working with merge requests or pull requests. There is a lot that goes on with DevOps, whether it's the configuration side or the setup, whether it's the actual management of it, whether it's when servers go down, when you get that terrible error message that Slack is offline, DevOps people are the ones running around behind the scenes and making sure things get back online. So sometimes DevOps involves a lot of travel. Sometimes you're literally flying to different data centers and dealing with things going offline. And other times it's all from the comfort of your home and you're signing into a major cloud, whether it's AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure or IBM Bluemix. Those are all 4 major cloud hosts. And a lot of DevOps these days are not done on company-owned hardware. In other words, the company doesn't have their own servers running in their own, basement of the office. Most modern architectures have moved over to one of those 3 major clouds: Microsoft Azure, Amazon AWS, and Google Cloud Platform are the 3 major clouds. So you guys deployed on Heroku, and Heroku, while it doesn't sound like it's one of those 3 major clouds, is actually a wrapper around Amazon Web Services. So everything you deploy to Heroku is being hosted by Amazon Web Services. Heroku is just a more developer-friendly way of deploying. So believe it or not, what you learned last week is not the most complicated deploy. Most complicated deploys are often setting up your own servers from scratch using AWS. Okay, sorry, that was a long rant. Christy, go ahead.
I wanted you to tell them what you told me today about the $7 for Heroku, because
I believe Heroku limits you to 5 projects, and I'm not sure if it's 5 actively running projects or 5 projects overall. Let me look that up really quickly. Okay, so it says unverified accounts can create at most 5 apps. Verified accounts can create no more than 100. So Christy and any other students, if you dig around in your account settings or check your spam, you may have an email from Heroku saying that you need to verify your account. But if you dig around in the Heroku settings, you should be able to find something that says verify. And once you verify, you'll be able to create more than 5 accounts. With that said, what I said to Christy was, while we can deploy front end and back end apps to Heroku, You can also deploy static front-end websites to GitHub pages completely for free. So if you are running into limit issues with Heroku not allowing you to create more than 5 apps, feel free to schedule a one-on-one with me and we can discuss either getting your Heroku account verified, which may involve putting in a credit card or a debit card, even though you're not getting billed. You should be able to use your stipend card if verification requires a credit card. I'm not sure if it's just verifying your email or verifying like the verifying through a debit card or credit card. I'm not sure on that, but you can either verify your account with Heroku, or you can set up some one-on-one time with me and I will go through a GitHub Pages deploy. Backends have to be deployed to Heroku. GitHub Pages will not support a backend deploy, but your front end can be deployed on GitHub Pages, just like we deployed your initial portfolio sites. Any other questions? What was the light bulb moment from last week? Where were you guys excited?
Finding the database environment variables and for Heroku.
Yeah, actually having the website up on Heroku and like seeing that Beekeeper was only just to see into the database.
Mm-hmm. I tried to plant as many seeds as I could in the blog project so that it all kind of came together, right? So when we did that API URL and the template literal, adjusting it to saying, okay, my front end is on 3000 and my back end is on 3001. When we deploy them, they're going to be on separate URLs, right? But that fetch is what ties those two together. And then in the database, you use your database environment URL in order to connect to the right database from there. Zach, go ahead.
I don't know if this is like a pseudo light bulb moment, but I didn't realize that like when we're creating databases in Beekeeper, it's not, the information isn't being stored in Beekeeper, it's being stored in our backend. I didn't realize that. I guess I just always thought it was in Beekeeper. I was like, how is it gonna, if we upload our backend to Heroku, how is that gonna get the information out of Beekeeper?
Yes, and keeping databases in sync are all part of DevOps and an internal nightmare for developers, right? Because oftentimes at work, I'll get a bug report and someone will tell me, hey, this isn't working. And I'll go and try and do it on my local host. And I'm like, well, it's working fine. What are you talking about? Or it's not even there. And I'm like, oh, I need to copy the database on production, what all of our end users are doing, back to my local host. So that way, when I play around with the data and I delete something, I don't need to worry about it actually deleting, real production users worth of data. I can kind of play around with it, figure out what the bug is. And once I have it fixed, then I can push my code up without impacting the database itself. And oftentimes we will actually need to modify the structure of the database. So there is a programmatic method called a migration, where you can migrate some data through your JavaScript code. You can run that migration against your production database and, add a new column or do stuff in Beekeeper that seems a little manual. We won't go into migrations much, but it's a good concept to hear about.
If you have a lot of pictures or videos in your files, it won't run on Heroku.
Yes, and there are some ways around that with file storage, and I think there are some paid add-ons there. I'm not a huge Heroku wizard. I know enough to get a deploy done, but Wayne, if you're struggling with that, reach out to me, or even better yet, Nathan, if he provided his Calendly link, and we'll find a way to get your deploy working without that.
Okay, thanks, because I was having discouraged because of that.
Yeah, it turns out while databases are great at storing vast amounts of information, they're not very good about storing big files, like individual big files. So databases are really optimized for storing text and numbers and small paragraphs. They're not really designed to store megabytes and megabytes worth of data. At least not in one singular file. So Wayne, we can talk through how to get that working for you, and also have a way that it is deployable. One important note there is having your capstone deployed is not actually a requirement of the boot camp. So if you get to graduation and you don't have your capstone deployed, that is okay. You can show off everything on localhost. When we get to graduation, you're just going to share your screen on Zoom, and you're welcome to do whatever demo you would like to do. Just keep in mind that you're going to have a limited time to present. So we recommend that you kind of split your time and do half of it on a slide presentation and the other half of it kind of showing off what you have built. So when we get to graduation, I will do a quick rundown for all of your friends and family that are attending, because you're all pretty much using the same stack, right? There might be slight variances. Someone might not be using React, or someone may be using an API that no one else is using. Feel free to touch on those, but I'm going to do a quick debrief for everyone in the audience who is not technical. So I'm going to describe what a stack is. I'm going to show them that diagram of how everything connects through all of that. And I'm going to just give them a debrief so that when they're seeing all of your projects, they have context into how hard it is to actually pull all of this off. The one thing I will say is focus your demo on showing your actual software and user interface. While the code is super impressive to you and is a major achievement, most of the people in the audience won't be able to read it or understand it, right? So your first half of the presentation is telling your story. What did you learn in the past 6 months? What did you do in all of that time that you invested? From there, that's the first half. The second half is showing off your capstone and what you've built. Any questions on any of that?
Not necessarily that, but what time is graduation? It's the 9th. I know that much, right?
It is the 9th at 5:30, but block off a half
The
hour.
8th.
What?
It's
Eighth.
the-
Yeah, it's definitely the 8th.
September 8th is a Thursday.
yeah, Thursday, September 8th, not the 9th. That's the Friday.
Yes, it is the 8th. Thank you for the correction.
Oh, it's the 8th. Okay.
It's the 8th. It's Thursday, so it's in our regular class time slot. And we may ask you to get there a half hour early, but I can't say that for sure.
PM?
Um,
5:30
5:30 p.m.
Really? No, it's not AM.
If they let us in early, I recommend doing it to secure, like getting your Wi-Fi set up, getting everything set up. I came from Rome, got there in bare minimum time and scrambled like a chicken with my head cut off. You want to make sure you are more prepared than anything, because you don't realize you might hit that stage. And there's no reason to have stage fright, but it still is. This is a lot of work you guys have put in, and last minute you kind of panic. So the earlier you can get there, they'll let you in, the better. Even if it's just to sit and hang out with other students, TAs, go over it again, run through it. I think I ran through it and then wrote index cards based off my slides because I didn't know what else to do panicking. Have a game plan. That's going to be your best option. Get there early, calm, and have a game plan.
Oh, I wanted to tell Wayne that Nathan said Nathan doesn't have Calendly. He said to inbox him and he would make arrangements with you to set up time.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Chrissy.
I missed, what time is it? Oh, 5:30. Okay, thank you.
And we will, starting next week, have more details and tips for you of what example slides should look like. What you guys want to start thinking about is this has been a very long journey. So this presentation is not about showing off your capstone or selling it as an app. The whole point of this graduation and presentation is to show everything that you've learned in the past 6 months, and the capstone is what culminates in that, right? So you want to share your journey with the target audience in mind of your friends and your family, right? You want to be showing them everything that you've accomplished in the past 6 months. Nicole, go ahead.
I had a question. So did you say that the last couple of weeks were in person? I just need to know ahead of time. Did we talk about that or no?
We did not. Let me pull up the schedule really quickly, and I can give you an answer on that. So we are in week 22. Week 24 will definitely be in person, with the exception of Monday the 5th, which is Labor Day. So we will not be in person then, because it's a national holiday. And I am going to aim to be in person the week of the 23rd as well. That will kind of be more optionally virtual. But the 24th, we're going to highly encourage everyone come in on that Wednesday and, I'm sorry, on that Tuesday and Wednesday to get practice with your presentations, last minute capstone help, that kind of stuff. So it would be great if everyone can be in person on the 6th and the 7th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the 8th is graduation, and that is on Lemoyne's campus. The Tuesday and Wednesday will be at Common Space.
Okay, I'm scared to death.
No need to be scared. Remember, this is about everything that you've accomplished, not about, but if you want to do a stressor, if you want to, Ariel had a somewhat of a humorous presentation. Everyone presents a little differently, right? This is your time to shine. Ariel also blacked out in the middle of her presentation and didn't realize.
I was like,
it was
what
over.
part of that was humorous that I blacked out? I don't even know what happened. I mean, the video looked great though. My Canva is your friend for your presentation, but after that, you guys, I have no advice past connect the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry.
She got a couple laughs out of the audience, even though she doesn't remember them. But stress is not. Jesse will give a short little presentation. I will give a short little presentation. I will butter up the crowd so they've got context on everything. And then as long as you think about this is about telling your story and not about selling your capstone project, you're going to do completely fine. Christy, go ahead.
You said the 23rd and the 24th. The 23rd is tomorrow.
I
No,
think
sorry.
he meant the week of for the 6th and 7th.
So I'll post this in Slack. So
But did you mean week 23 and week 24? Or you
I
just said
did, yes.
Okay.
Sorry. So week
I'm like,
23
that's tomorrow.
is next week. It's optionally in person, and we're going to be focused on capstone work and optional add-on modules. And basically next week, I'm going to have a list of a bunch of different resources available to you. If your capstone is rocking and rolling and you think you're in very good shape on it, you will have the opportunity to add on something, whether that's learning React Native and building a basic mobile app for your computer or a basic mobile app, whether that's going into WordPress and setting up a new WordPress site and learning about basic theming and how to do that, whether that is a basic cybersecurity module. We're basically going to link you out to LinkedIn Learning, and then in class, it's going to be basically all of next week a giant open office hours. So whether that's office hours to work on your assignment, or I'm sorry, work on your capstone, or whether that's kind of an opportunity to ask about questions and about your add-on module and what you're going through. So next week is kind of your last chance to kind of explore and use our network. So I will have links together for the different topics, and you can choose next week. Do I want to pick Max's brain on capstone, or do I want to have a discussion about what I'm learning? And next week, you'll also be able to do group learning as well. So if a couple of you guys are interested in creating a mobile app all together, you can you can do that. So I'm gonna post week 22 this week, final concepts, week 23 optionally in person.
No, what I was asking is it's 26 weeks in total though.
No, 24 weeks in total.
Oh, okay.
Just give me 1 second and I will post this.
We're in week 22.
We're on 22, yes.
Lordy Jesus. So you said 24 weeks?
24 weeks.
Wait,
20
have you been here with
before
us, Nicole?
graduation.
I feel the same way.
No, I'm over here like, Lordy Jesus.
Pull your calendar out your phone. Pull your phone out and you look at your calendar. And stop panicking.
Max, so do we have class on Labor Day?
We do not have class on Labor Day.
All right.
And I just posted the schedule in the CIC Student C3 channel if it's easier to read it written. Tiffany, go ahead.
Just a quick question. Did we go over, like, for the presentations and everything, how long does each person get? Do you know?
We did not. Let me message Jesse and ask him. Actually, you know what? He is on vacation this week. Let me see if I can find the capstone presentation.
Okay. Because I think because I remember watching like the capstone presentations from last cohort. I think it was like, was it like 15 minutes per person or something? I don't remember.
Oh, it's much shorter than that.
It's shorter
I thought
than
it
that.
was like
Okay.
6
Minutes.
Is
with a
6
slow clap at 3 or 4. Yeah.
Okay.
6 minutes.
6 minutes maximum.
On.
It is 6 minutes maximum. And when you have 2 minutes left, we'll give you a sign, and that should be a reminder to go start showing off your demo for your capstone.
Okay. Thank you.
Is
I'm glad
anybody?
you told us ahead of time, because I'd have been all set and ready to tell all the tragedies of my life and all my whole journey, and that's good. That's
Listen,
good.
I'm telling you, that's why I had to ask ahead of time. I'm like, oh, honey, let me tell you how many tears I shed.
Right.
Don't forget some positivity.
You got
Right.
4 minutes to do that.
Right.
If it makes you guys feel better, I have just one slide of my process and it says Slack ping Max crying and it has all the check marks. Like you can add some of that in there, but you want to really focus on like, yeah, all this crap happened in my life, but look what I did in 6 months. Holy shit. One of those. Put 2 minutes of tragedy, 2 minutes of, look what I did. Oh my God, I'm proud of myself. And then 2 minutes of this is the code, figure out what you can that I showed you.
Christy, go ahead.
I say don't give too much energy to the negativity. You overcame it and you're there. Second, so just so we'll know, you said that when we get ready to present, if I do NPM run start and I can bring my website up on localhost and I don't have to necessarily be fooling around with Heroku.
Nope.
Okay, that's good to know, because I mean it's on there now. I don't necessarily want to take it off, but it's good to know that I can just do the local host thing, because I don't like John. I don't want no drama and no energy, no bad vibes. So thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to be able to say, like, hey, everyone, go check out my website at christyharlow.com. But that is not a requirement.
Since my now here's the other thing. Since I can't put my portfolio site on Heroku, and I don't have a third domain name, should I'm wondering, should I take that domain name and attach it, or should I just get another one? I don't know. I gotta think.
So
about
it's up
that.
to you. You can get another one. You can reuse one you already have. Or you can always do a subdomain. You can always do portfolio.christyharlow.com and it will be on a different setup. So you can do a subdomain if you prefer to do that.
Can we, you said, I'm wondering if anybody else wants to set up GitHub pages, if we should make that, or can I suggest that be a
So Christy, if you can look into what it takes to verify your Heroku account for me. And that is what will determine if it's a pain or if there's something. Do you know if anyone else has run into verifying their Heroku accounts?
I thought it was email, but I don't remember because I did mine a long time ago.
So Chrissy, if you can look into verifying, if you find out that verification is a pain, I will go through GitHub pages sometime this week and we'll go through how to deploy a front end to GitHub pages. If it is not a pain, I may ask you to kind of do a 5-minute presentation to show everyone how to verify.
I'm teaching now? Wait a minute, I'm teaching now?
Nicole, go ahead.
I quickly just wanted to ask, I know we have Labor Day off, but can I still book you on Calendly on that day? Are you going to be taking that as a vacation or?
No, I will keep. Oh, I have to block one time off. I'm not available that Saturday. But I will be available Friday, Sunday, and Monday, and there should be a crap ton of times open on Monday because, I will make sure that there is a crap ton of times available on Monday. I think I normally have my workday blocked out. My other workday blocked out. I guess I should be more specific. But I will make sure that those get opened up. Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it looks like you can verify through your email because I just checked my email for Heroku and it said confirm your account on Heroku.
Awesome.
I thought we had to do that anyway before we could go in and put stuff in it. So
I think they give you 5 accounts, 5 apps for free before you have to verify. Okay, with all of that said, we are going to do a surprise capstone check-in. Yay! But before everyone panics, don't worry, it's just a Google form. I'm not going to make you all share your screen. I am going to drop that link into the chat. And I will also drop that link into the live stream in Slack. And everyone should take a couple minutes and go fill out that form right now. And then what I'm going to do is quickly parse out the responses. And today's class, we're actually going to split. So if you are behind on your capstone, and I can see that you're behind in your capstone form, we're going to split into 2. Ariel is going to take the people who need a little extra time working on their capstone and go work with them there. The people who are feeling pretty good about their capstone and are caught up, we are going to do account creation form and password reset tonight. We're going to use SendGrid to send an email, and we're going to use a new route to add a create an account form to our blog project. So go fill out that form. I will go through everyone's responses. I'm going to individually message everyone on Slack. So if you don't have Slack open, go pop that up. Once everyone's form submission is in, I will shoot you a note of which group I think you should go into. I do want to note that everyone is probably feeling behind on their capstone. That is natural. That is how all deadlines work. some of you guys are caught up to the point where you can learn more features. You can learn how to send an email in your backend, and you can learn all about the account creation steps and get practice creating routes. There are some of you, based off of your Capstone submissions from last week, or meeting you during one-on-ones, where I think you guys may just need the extra time to invest in the Capstone and have Ariel available to ask questions. What I will say is the blog front end and back end are the most complete projects that we did. So if you are looking for code to reference, the blog project is the code to reference. While you guys are filling out the form, I will go get the link to that blog project so that you guys can reference it more easily. Christy, go ahead.
When you say multiple pages, you mean like header, home, footer?
Multiple pages, and that if I click on something, I go to another page that's in my own code. So not multiple components, multiple routes.
So if you click, so the button that's on the card, if you click that and it takes you somewhere else, is that multiple pages or no?
No, it's another page in your site. So you don't have multiple pages because it all shows up on one page, and that's okay. It's not a requirement to have multiple pages.
Oh, okay, because there's a red, so I have to answer the question, but it's not a requirement.
Correct,
Got it.
correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sorry, just because it is marked as a required question does not mean that it is a requirement for your capstone.
Max, I already pulled the data in from other APIs, so it's no longer considered a third-party API anymore, correct?
Yeah, I would count that. If you've got data flowing at any point from a third-party API, I think it qualifies for a yes for that question.
I mean, it won't be flowing anymore because I've already pulled it in. So I
That's
pulled it
okay.
in. Okay.
It's just, have you used a third-party API at any point during your capstone presentation? May be a better question, or your capstone project.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm looking at the capstone check-in. Oh my God. Can you tell me, like, so do you think I have like a front end and a back end? Would you consider that as like I could check these off?
So you've got a front end if you've got a page showing up at localhost 3000. You've got a back end if you have your server running on 3001. And then you can say you've got a model if you've got, db.js and another JS file. And then the data flowing is basically saying I can put things in Beekeeper and it will flow from Beekeeper to SQLized model to the backend endpoint and show up in my front end formatted the way I want. And so that's kind of the data flowing requirement. And it's okay if you don't have these done. We are splitting the class so that you guys have a little extra time to work on these concepts. Christy, go ahead.
I never lowered my hand.
Oh, Christy, do not go ahead. What week did we do blog? There it is. I could not find the code for the life of me.
19, I think.
No, it was 19. 19 day 2. Good memory. Let me see if I have that in.
When you send us some resources of what I realized, and I've been looking at stuff, but it's been kind of all over the place. I need some resources that are going to help me speak. Like I want some resources that when I'm talking, I have the right words. When I did my interview, I explained what everything was doing, but I realized that I was deferring to my own words and not really using maybe the correct words. I want to talk. I want to talk techie. I need some techie talk.
I'm struggling to come up with a resource that would help for that. Sanjay said MDN, which is, you know, all the documentation of, hey, maybe it's worth saying, all right, if they ask me a question about an array, let me go read the array page, and then I'll remember like push, pull, pop, you know, all of those kinds of things. But I can't think of like technical jargon for dummies, you know, like that book doesn't exist.
Oh, it does. I thought I was getting excited. I was saying, you think it's on Amazon? No.
Need to write it.
Yeah, make it, Max.
Yeah, write it, Max.
Not as it on Amazon. No, for real.
That's what I thought he was about to say. It's on Amazon. He's gonna send me a link.
I bet if you did a search for like full stack jargon,
I mean, not for nothing, MDN is kind of good though. I mean, it got the terms mostly out of all the other pages, like, you know, I mean, I'm looking at them right now. I mean, just write them down in your own way, Chrissy. That's like my main thing. Like I need the term so I know how to talk when I'm talking.
yeah, and one thing that
I feel you. I feel you.
One thing that I will share with you guys as soon as it's ready is we are doing every cohort, we do an updated pass at our curriculum. And one of the things that was highly recommended from more than one student is we need pre-reading. Like we would love to be able to be exposed to these concepts the week before we do the projects.
Yes.
So I am pulling together, I've just started pulling together all of those resources for all of the weeks, as well as reshuffling some of the projects and saying, hey, we should have done this one before this one, or, and so when that is available to you guys, the whole point of our curriculum is that it is open sourced, right? So our curriculum is available. All of our YouTube videos are still available. They don't disappear after you guys graduate. But as soon as I have all of those pre-readings available, I will share them with you guys. It will be after graduation. But if you have found any resources that you had a light bulb moment, even if it's going all the way back to week 1, feel free to share them with me, because I'm starting to compile them for a full 24 weeks of pre-reading.
I think I'm going to go back and redo the boot camp after the fact at my own time.
Max?
Yes.
And
Larry, you're not alone in that. A lot of students do that. In fact, one of them is on the call this very second.
Max,
Go ahead.
crap, what's it again? The mock interviews. You mind sending me the link in Zoom again so I could sign up?
It should be in the Career Coach channel. Yeah, if you go to the Career Coach channel in Slack and just scroll up, Laura posted it on Monday.
It's there.
And she posted a reminder today that Max has a spot open.
I took it.
think Christy took that.
I did.
But there should be other spots. Yep, there's one on Tuesday the 30th with me. There's one with Sean on Wednesday the 31st. Sean is an awesome interviewer and great to get practice with. But there are a couple open slots, and you guys can always message me if you would like a mock interview that is available on my Calendly link, but not available on Sign Up Genius. And I can make a anytime work for you guys that works inside my Calendly.
You said student CIC?
Career coach.
Oh, career coach. Okay. That one.
Okay, I'm gonna see. We've got 10 responses in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So one more person that needs to submit. I'm gonna quickly go through these responses and figure out kind of divide you guys up and figure out which path I recommend. I will shoot you a Slack message as I do, but let's go on break and be back at 7:10. That works for everyone. And no matter what path you go down, I'm going to try and end at 8. We won't get through everything I wanted to cover for the more advanced paths, but we'll probably end up following this model tomorrow and saying, hey, right at the beginning of class, we'll all come together, we'll do a quick stand up, then we will go into, we'll split up again based off of how we split tonight. I'll keep doing the more advanced concepts, give you guys an opportunity to work on your capstones if you need it, and then we'll come back together at 8 o'clock tomorrow and work through any outstanding questions you guys may have. So take a
Listen,
break, be back
I
at
don't know
7.
if I filled that out right, Max.
What?
I don't know if I filled it out right.
That's all right. I'm going to Slack every one of you guys individually. So make sure your Slack is up. And when you come back from break, you can let me know if you agree with my breakout room assessment or want to stay with the whole class.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just have a quick question. What are we doing in class today?
We are adding a register form and we are doing a password reset flow.
And I don't have to do that on my blog. I can do that on my capstone.
If you want to follow along
I
there
do.
and your login code is similar enough, yes, you can absolutely do it there.
All right, thank you.
Okay, go on break. I'll see you guys at 7:10. 2. Check your Slack if you have not already responded to me and let me know if you agree with the assessment. I definitely don't want to separate you guys if you don't want to be separated. So I sent everyone a message of where I think they should be headed. And then after class tonight, I will go through everyone's one-on-one requests and reach out to the people that you checked off so that you can get in touch with them and set up some times with them. Or if it's with me, you can always go onto my calendar link. I will drop that in the chat and you guys can grab whatever time that works for you. So I just put my calendar link in the chat. I will also, like I said, after class, reach out to people who requested other one-on-ones and get that coordination going for you. Give everyone just one more minute to check their Slack, make sure that they're okay with either going to the breakout room or sticking around. And then I will open the breakout room.
Max, I don't see a message, but I know where I need to be.
Oh, my bad. How did I miss?
It's okay. I know I should probably be going to the breakout room.
Okay, sorry. I don't know how I missed you because I remember reading your form.
I'm coming back a little late.
Oh, that's what it was. You maybe left the meeting and that's why I couldn't check you off. Okay, I got you in the breakout room. Nicole, I just said check your Slack. I recommended which path you go into, but you already responded. What the? Sorry, apparently Slack is eating my messages because I definitely responded.
Is there a link already created for the breakout room, or were you?
No, I'm gonna open it right now.
Okay.
Okay, so whoever I recommended go into the breakout rooms, you should be able to join that room. And then otherwise, we're going to stick around here and do account creation and password reset probably tomorrow, but we can get started with reset today. So if I recommended you go to the breakout room, you should have that option now. If not, you're welcome to stick around here. all of that said, let me close out some of this stuff.
What file are we gonna be using, Max? You don't mind me asking?
We are going to be using the blog code, although if you have a login already working in your Capstone, you are more than welcome to use your Capstone instead. And I believe I posted, yes, in live stream C3, I posted the day 2 file. That is what I am going to be using for my starter. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
I just wanted to say I didn't get your message in Slack, but I'm just gonna stay here just because.
You were in this group.
Okay,
I recommended that you stay here.
perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to my code. I'm going to week 19. I'm going to my day 2 and I'm copying that. And then I'm going to my week 22 folder that I'm going to create, and I'm going to paste that in. Then in my week 22 day 2 folder, I'm going to open that and open up my blog backend and my blog front end in VS Code. I'm going to open my terminal and npm I. I'm going to open my terminal and I'm going to npm I. I'm going to start live shares for my front end and my back end.
Everyone, don't forget, we have to go through Git and open,
Yep, yep, I remember.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what he's doing. I'm going to get.
Yeah, I'm going to get, that's where I'm getting my. That's funny. Yeah, Nathan got us just straight on Get now. Like it's just Get. It's nothing else.
We are going to probably be revising the way we use Git for the next cohort, and getting people set up for cohort 4 with Git kind of right off the bat, and then possibly even using GitHub Classroom for turning in assignments instead of Canvas.
There's so much that's gonna based on this class and how it went, it's gonna make the next cohort a lot better, which
It always does. You would not believe the improvements we've made between cohorts, between each cohort.
I believe.
it said npmi, right?
Yes, on both of them, and then you can do your npm run starts as well. And I will
Now-
start a poll to see when you guys are caught up.
And all of us we have like that Git ignore, so the npmi is gonna bring back our node modules.
Yes.
Okay.
And Max, you said we're using the code from that zip file that you put in Slack?
Yes.
Okay,
Or if your Capstone has a login set up, you can use that instead.
okay.
Could you use your blog that you had?
Yes, or your blog. That's fine too.
Now on
Don't forget to vote in the poll once you are up and running. And you should have Max's awesome blog or whatever going on in your blog, and you should be able to see a couple posts or a couple authors.
Yes.
And I also have my 2 live share links if you want to pop those open.
And
Just
everything.
double
connected.
checking, Max. That zip file that you put in Slack, that ended up, when I opened it, it was the portfolio backend. Is that the right?
Oh, my bad.
Okay, that's the only thing I was wondering about.
19. How did I do that?
Your
Uh,
computer just messing all up today.
I don't know. I just copied that folder, so I don't know how. Let me stop the share really quick. Delete. Okay. 19 day 2 compress. And okay, I just resent the zip. Let me delete that other one so there's no.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that. Now, if you tell me that doesn't have the blog project in it, I'm going to be really mad.
Am I? Hold on.
Does that change anything with your live share? Because your live share is the blog front end.
No, live share is all correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay, those are the right ones.
Success.
Are we missing people from the class today?
I put them in a breakout room. So whoever needed some additional time to work on their capstone, I put them in their own breakout room.
Is there anything else I need to open up? I got the live shares, my code, and anything else I should probably have open.
Just the front end and back end of your code, and then you should be good to go.
All right.
All right, only 4 votes in. You guys good, or you need another minute?
My backend says that it
I
crashed.
just need another minute.
Okay. What's going on with your backend, Christy?
It said it crashed. My app crashed, waiting for final changes.
Do you have in your db.js, make sure that it's your username in here and not hack up state?
I do have hack up state. Why?
If you just change that to your name, it should fire up.
Yeah, I don't know what I did.
opened my own code. That's why I'm confused. Yep, and it worked.
Okay.
That's great.
Nicole, did you need help?
Yeah, I was asking, I think I was asking if, I'll wait.
Okay.
Okay,
We
one last
good?
thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So are we opening an integrated terminal?
Mhm.
In VS Code? Okay.
In both the front end and back end, and npm I enter and then npm start enter
Okay.
for both of them.
My quick question is, can you do that thing where you like refresh the, I don't know, you do something where with the live share that it kind of like if my local host was connected to yours or something?
Oh yeah, I can fix that.
If I'm using my own code, I don't need the npm I then, right? Because I already have the node modules.
As long as you have node modules, yes.
All right.
Nicole, I stopped my 3000, so you should be able to get to your 3000. I still don't know why that only impacts some of you, but not others. I have not figured that out. Are we good?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. All right. So the goal here is to share my screen. Okay. So we've got our login page, but as a lot of you guys have run into, there's no create an account page, right? And if we want someone to be able to create a new account, there's no way for them to do that right now. So we're going to set that up. We're going to go to the front end. I'm going to copy my whole login path and I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to go to my files and make a new file called create account. account.js. I'm going to take my login file, copy the whole freaking thing, and paste it in create account. Then wherever I see the word login, I'm going to replace that with create account. And finally, I'm going to go back to my app.js, which I'm going to put over here. No, it's too complicated. Just do it in the same tab. In my app.js, I'm going to change my login to create account and my element to create account. So now on my login page, all I need to do is next to my login button, I'm going to add a link to create account that says create new account. So when I go to my browser, I have my create new account button. And when I click that button, it takes me to a page that says create account. So reviewing those steps, we created a new file called createaccount.js. We then went to our login page, copied everything. We went back to our create account page and we pasted it in. We changed the login up here, right here, and down here to create account. I also renamed this button to create account. Once we get through that step, we go to our app.js, we modify our route, we copy and paste our login route and make it go to create account instead. And then finally, we go to the login page and we add a link to create new account. And if all of that works, when you are on your homepage, you should be able to click login. And on your login screen, you should have a create new account link. If you click on create new account, it should take you to this page. Leave that up on the screen for you. 3 files we modified: create account, app.js, and then we copied all of our code from login and added the link to that.
Max,
Yes,
the code you copy from login, is that what you pasted into create account?
it sure is.
Okay.
And you did the exact same, like everything from the whole entire return?
I copied the whole freaking file.
Oh, okay.
All right, Max, can you run through that one more time, because I had my capstone open and not the blog. So I was like, oh, okay. So what did you change?
We created a new file called createaccount.js.
Okay.
We copied and pasted our entire login.js into our createaccount.js.
Okay. Let's see.
Then we renamed any of our login words to the word create account. So we do it for the component. We do it at this H1 down here, and then we do it down here for this create account. Then we go to our app.js and we add a route in here for create account. And then last step, we go to our login page and we add a link down here at the bottom to create account.
Thank you.
Max, I'm getting an error that says link is not defined.
So up on your imports, make sure you've got a import for link from React Router DOM.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I apologize, Max. I think I got lost right at the part where you have to create a route.
Okay, in app.js, we just add this route right here.
Okay, so I'm on app.js.
Oh, sorry.
And which one is it? It's the one that says create account?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you show me what it's supposed to look like again?
Sure can. On your homepage, you should be able to click the login button. From the login button, there should be a link now for create new account. When you click on that, it should give you this. It's not working yet. You can't submit it. You can't create the account, but good to move forward.
No. So I did my whole file, right? But it's saying use state is not fine. So can I just delete that import out?
No, you would need to import it if it's not defined.
Okay. One second, please. Yeah. Yeah, can you help me with some errors?
Oh, let me try a new feature. Boom. I can now request remote control of your computer instead of you guys having to share it with me. Okay. Oh, and it even lets me switch between monitors. That's so freaking cool. Okay, sorry, I'm freaking out. Okay, so you created your, oh, you've got a weird, oh, maybe I have to pick this. There we go. Okay. You've got a weird letter in here that you shouldn't have. And then the only other issue is that in register, you don't have API URL. So we can just import API URL. Nope. Don't import app. Hold on. Let me go back there.
Sorry. I just deleted that out because it just said get rid of it. Well, it just said it wasn't defined. Can you sit down, please?
There you
No,
go. So when it's not defined, it means that like it's not properly imported here.
Mhm.
But now this should be working. So if you want to test it in your browser, you can check.
Let me. Okay, and then.
Click login register.
All right.
And then, oh, no,
Uh-oh.
that's not good.
Don't worry.
You check mine when you finish.
All right, don't worry about it. I'll work on it.
Max, do you have a register JS?
No, I have a create account.js. Nicole just called it register.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need that for my capstone.
Chris,
check mine?
you
'Cause
can go
it's
next,
weirding
and then
me
Wayne,
out.
I'll come to you.
Mm, can you come on log, can you hack into my computer and pull my screen up? I have error messages in my console and I had other error messages and I fixed them, but I don't know what to do with this.
Okay, you're on screen 1.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
So failed to
Usually see the
fetch.
number.
Failed to
Yeah.
fetch is normally a problem with your backend. So switch me to your backend terminal. And this is your front end. There's your blog. Okay, so backend has errors. And it's, wait, are we scroll down to the bottom? Do we have
Do I need
user
to-
is not
do I need to
associated to post. So you are missing a I have to look at my code for this one.
I have a random question. Doug, did your question get answered, Doug?
Oh, is my hand still up?
Oh, no, I'm just looking in the chat and I was wondering.
Oh, that was from a while ago. Where am I going? I'm going to my back end. We did something where we associated the users together. So we say, let me take back over. In RDB, we had a line in here. So your code must be a little bit further behind ours, because what we did is, I think in the connection to the database, we said the post belongs to the user and the foreign key is user ID.
You know, we had to make changes to go on Heroku, so that's what I'm thinking. Is that this is something we did today?
No, this is something that we had in there from a while ago. I don't know why it would have gotten deleted out for Heroku, but if we refresh, now you don't have any of your errors.
Oh, thank you. Look, okay.
That may have been a line that got accidentally deleted out for the Heroku stuff or something. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
Well, I said Wayne next, and then Larry, I'll come to you. You still need help, Wayne?
Where'd it go?
Sorry, I fixed it.
Okay.
Weirdly.
Okay.
Go away.
I don't get it though. I'm still kind of weird out because I'm like, it's the same thing I was doing. I had to put it in quotations and then I took it back out and it started working without it. And I'm like, what the hell? So,
Okay.
yeah, it weirded me out, but okay.
Larry, do you still have a question?
Yeah, if you in our back end, we both have like the warning, I think it is that the session has been deprecated.
Okay. Not something you need to worry about for this project.
What does that mean though? Can you tell us real quick about express deprecation?
Express session is what we use so our login code works. So that we can like save which user is logged in. Basically, when you log in, that session gets created for the user. And they're saying that the save uninitialized option is deprecated. In other words, they don't use that anymore. And so that eventually sessions should be updated to not have save uninitialized or to add save uninitialized. But I'm not quite sure how to fix that. So maybe that's something I look into at the end of class and get back to you.
Okay.
So at this point, what should our project be doing?
You should be able to get to your home screen, click login, click create new account, and get to this point.
Click login. I don't know, I have a login button on the login page, but create account, okay. So let me share my screen real quick, I guess.
Go for it.
Desktop 3. All right, go back. Hold on.
Okay.
So this is my local 3000. I think that was the admin page for some reason, but when I go to the login page, I have the login button.
You're not sharing that monitor.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. Share screen, and this is desktop 3. All right.
Okay,
Is it
and so
shared
if
now?
you click, yeah, you're on the right one. So if you hit create new account. Okay, yeah, you're caught up. That's all we have.
But if I hit my login button, why they put anything in it? All right, all right. Okay. All
There you
right.
go. You're all caught up. Okay, so now we need to actually get our create account to work, right? So right now, our create account is going to the login endpoint. We don't want it to go to the login endpoint. We want it to go to the create account endpoint. Well, if we make a create account endpoint, we need to come back over to our server, and we've got all of the login stuff here. We also need to do a server.post to our create account. It's going to use the database, so it needs to be async. We always get the request and send back a response. But before we do any of this, haven't we created an account already? Let's scroll down a little bit. Lots of good stuff in here, but all the way down at the end, oh, we've got create first user. So maybe let's modify this and borrow all of this code. So I'm going to copy everything in create first user without create first user itself. I'm going to go back up to my create account endpoint. And now what I'm going to do is I don't want to see if any users exists. I want to see a user where the username matches the rec.body.username.
Timeout. We had to move that. We moved that. For those of us that did Heroku, Nathan had us copy that and move it somewhere else.
The DBJS.
Yeah.
Right, the first user and the second user.
So go to db.js and copy it from there instead.
Okay.
Or you can just rewrite it out that it doesn't need to be exactly copied, or you can copy it from mine.
Okay.
So what we do is we check to see if there is a user with this username. And we're just going to find one of them. So what we do is we take the username that was passed in, and if this username already exists, we're going to say if the user with this username exists, res.send back a 500, res.send back an error, true, and a message that says username is already taken. Go find another. Go fish, sounds more fun. Else, we can create their account, but instead of using this hard-coded username, I'm going to use the username that is in the request.body.username. And when they create a password, I'm not going to make their password super secret. I'm going to make their password rec.body.password, whatever they send in. So I save all of that, move this over. I go over to my front end and I say, hey, when I create an account, you're still going to send the username and the password, and you're going to include all the credentials. And if there is an error, go ahead and set that error in. So let me actually just modify this to match our front end a little bit better. Okay. If there is an error, set that error. Otherwise, navigate them to the login screen and say new user equals true. So I come back to my create account page. I type my username in as Max and my password is secret. I create an account and it says username is already taken. Well, that's good. That username is already taken. So I'm going to call it Max2 and I'm going to hit create account. And that one's taken. So I'm going to do 3 and create account. And okay, now I don't know. I know I don't have 3. Let me go look in the database. That is my blog. I look at my users. Did I really have 3? Created 22nd. Wait, post. Oh, here's what I forgot. If there's a user with this username, res send that. Otherwise, res.send success true. So I res.sended back an error, but I forgot to res.send back success. So let me try that again. I create an account 4, I hit create account, and it takes me right to the login screen.
So
Could you walk through everything that you just did?
I sure can. So on my front end, I modified my endpoint right here. So instead of going to login, this is now going to create account. Then down here in my navigate, I said login is going to send this to a new user. We're going to take advantage of this in just 1 second. So we modified our login. So instead of going to the admin page, it's now going to the login screen. Then over here, we created a whole new endpoint called create account. But the one rule of creating an account is that someone else with this username can't already exist. So we go to the database, we say, hey, go find a user with the username that the person is trying to create. And if a user with this username already exists, send back an error that the name is already taken. Otherwise, create a new user in the database and send back success true. And the user that we want to create is coming in from the rec.body.username. That's flowing in from the body from our front end. And then same for our password. And our password we're going to use from the rec.body.password, except the only difference is that we encrypt it using bcrypt here.
So I was a little behind, but for the to the navigate and you have login with the question mark, is that gonna is that because it's JSON, so it's gonna like come out as something else? I'm missing.
Nope, has nothing to do with that. We haven't used this yet. We're just setting us up for success.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna see what that does in 1 second.
So, I don't want to say I'm lost, but I'm lost. And the reason why is because what the changes we made, and we took the first, second user and moved it somewhere else. I'm not following along. I'm confused.
Okay, so take a step back. Don't view this as following along. View this as what steps do I need to take as an engineer to make this work? First things first, on our front end, we need to use the create account endpoint because we don't want to log in. So we modify that. Now we come over to our back end, and without using any other code, we can say, oh, we need to make a new endpoint. How do we make a new endpoint? We do a server dot something. What method is it using? It's a post. Okay, now what's the name of the endpoint? What's the route? What's the URL? Oh, it's create account. Okay, now what do we want to do in the create account? We've got the rec and the res. So what do? We check to see if a user already exists with this username. If it does, send back an error. Otherwise, create a new user.
And okay, so the server.post that we should add, can you scroll up a little bit? Because what is it following? It's following the
login.
The login. Okay, so wherever the login is, you're gonna put this create account between the login and the login status.
Correct.
Okay.
Zach and Doug, you are asking about this 10 parameter here. It is complicated and not easy to understand, but basically it is the rounds of salting that happen for the password, which I know makes no sense, and you want to talk about technical verbiage. So ask me that question at the end of class. Salting is generating a random string and putting it onto the end of the password and then re-encrypting that. And the reason that you do that is for something called hashing tables. Let me see if I can find an article for you about password salting that's going to explain it way better than I can. Okay, yeah, this is a good link. If you are wondering about the 10 parameter, it is the rounds of, I actually now need to look that up, decrypt. Yeah, it's the rounds of salting that happens, but that's something that I could probably only explain with a half hour of prep or a whiskey in my hand.
Should I have that log out?
Down here? Yes, good idea. Larry, go ahead.
What should our call be doing at this time?
It should be, if you go to create new account, you type in a username that's already taken and whatever password you want and hit create account. It should say username is already taken. And then if you create a different account and hit create account, it should take you to this login screen.
Yeah, I think I got I'm getting an error.
You want to share screen?
I'm not sharing it. Oh, okay.
Not yet.
So this user is already created.
Okay, so connection refused, failed to fetch means your backend is probably offline. So let's go to that terminal and take a look.
Okay. Crash expected token. Oh, all right.
So you're missing a curly brace or a parenthesis.
Says go fish. You.
Oh, you have a semicolon. That should be
comma. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would just take out the semicolon on 40 and I think it will work. Nicole, go ahead.
Mine's not doing nothing after I press login. So
Share screen.
second. Oh, wrong screen. So it says class name, and then I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's supposed to say on submit. So go to your form.
Oh, okay. Which in my back end or my front end?
Front end. And yeah, you got a space in there that's causing it all to break.
Okay. I'm sorry, the Zoom is in the way. 1 second. I'm sorry.
That shouldn't break your code. And I think it's on a different page because you have no results there.
Oh, okay.
You can fix that in a second. Just go back to your browser and create a new account. Okay, and open your console. Let's see why it failed. So connection refused means your backend's offline. So let's go to your backend. And it crashed. Look in your terminal. Scroll up a little bit in the terminal. Let's figure out why it crashed. Server is not defined. So you use app, not server, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So change server out to app. All lowercase. And refresh and okay, that's good.
Is it okay? So I should be able to log in with that now.
Well, no, well, that account was already, that username was already taken. So it didn't register it. So if you register again, and then type in Nicole 2 or whatever. Okay, now you should be able to sign in with that.
I don't know what's going on, but all right.
Larry, go ahead.
Somewhere my button is, I think it's still connected to like the login code because it's saying that the passwords don't match as opposed to.
Yeah. Go, let me see your app.js. Or actually, it's probably going to be in your create account.
Create account. All right, it's a different screen. All right, screen. That's desktop 2. All right. So create account. Yeah.
Keep going up to your fetch. And just change your line 15 login to create account.
Okay, thank you. And then the button should say create account. too,
Yes,
right?
and you can change that on the
Alright.
same page.
All right, thank you.
Christy, go ahead.
Okay, 1 second. I need to share my screen. I'm trying to commit. Where's the button?
Welcome back, everyone, from the breakout rooms. I've got one more thing to show on this, and then we will be done. Okay, so once again, your back end is down. So did you look in your back end terminal?
Is that what that means? I just did a commit to my backend. Let me see. No, my crash.
You've got something going on with your posts. So let's just, I think something broke in your blog when you move stuff around. So let me, let's just focus on the part that we're working on, which is the,
Oh, no photos are there.
so I'm going to restart the server. I'm going to log out. Okay, so now let's only focus on what we are doing. So,
And I created a new password.
so if you create a new account, I'm going to create one called Max9. My password is secret. And I create account. Okay, success true, that's working. Now if I sign in, that is also working. So what is happening is your admin screen is broken. Nothing to do with your create account stuff. What's broken is something that you did when you retrieve the posts.
Okay,
So that's what you would need to fix.
okay.
Larry, go ahead.
You want to check if mine is working after?
Let me do Larry's, and then I'm going to show one final thing on this, and then I want to open it up for questions on Capstone. Failed to fetch 36. Let me see your 36. Failed to fetch mismatch. Actually, I think it's gonna be your back end.
Okay, back in. Let's see.
Back end looks fine. Oh, app crash. Oh, here you go. Let me request. You're just missing this if we want to do this res.send only if the user exists. Else we want to create the new user.
Okay.
So you just we're missing the else to split it apart.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna hold off on any questions here because I'm about to open it up to anyone, and you guys can ask questions about this or about your capstone. What I want to do really quickly is show you the last part of we did this login new user equals true, but we didn't do anything with it. So on our login, we can do a const params equals u search params. And if we console log out our params, we can see our, oh, maybe this was a bad idea.
Don't.
Oh, I need my bad. I used that hook wrong. I can say search params. And then in here, I can say search params dot get, and I can say new user. So now when we console log out on this page, we get true because it's true up here. So what we can do is say const is new user. And then down here in our login, we can do something like a p tag that says your account has been created. Please log in. And we can say if there is a new user, show this p tag. So what we do is we say, hey, use the search params. What are the search params? Search params are anything that comes after the question mark, sometimes also known as get parameters or URL parameters. So we use the search params to get whether or not they are a new user. If they are a new user, we want this message to show up that says your account has been created, please log in. The cool thing about this is if we go back to the home page and go to the login button, notice that message doesn't show up. But if we go to create new account and create a new account, now this message will show up only when that new account has been created. Okay, that is the last of the stuff I wanted to show you. To do that, we modified login. We put these two lines in, the use search params and the is new user. And then down in our return, I added this inline ternary to say if it is a new user, then show this p tag. I'm going to stop there and open it up for questions. And people in the breakout room, if you have Capstone questions, feel free to raise your hand and I'll get to you as well. Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, my question was getting the data via file, so that might take a little longer. So someone else has a shorter question, they can go first.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone have other questions?
Not quite yet, but I will.
All right, floor is yours, Larry.
All right, let me bring up my code then. I know I got too much code. Capstone back end.
Make sure you Control C out of anything else running on 3001 as well before you switch over.
Control C. Another Control C. I can't Control C yours. That was front end. Make sure that was front end. We get the back end to window. What were we just doing? Blog back end. And then Control C. Okay.
Share your screen.
Up. Desktop 3. All right, so I have these 7 files that all have a whole bunch of data in it.
Yep.
And here I made an array with all the file names.
Okay.
And then here I'm looping through each file and I'm creating the stream.
Okay.
And then this here, it was just really, I don't know exactly what it does, but I know it's like getting the data in chunks. And so I'm just yeah.
Yeah, I kind of led you down the wrong path a little bit. Instead of read stream, what you want to do is read file sync.
Okay, that was something I was familiar with. All right.
And
So,
then this is going to just become like the raw data. And then you want to, and I'm just going to comment this out. Then you want to say const JSON equals JSON dot parse your raw data out. Raw data. I didn't mean to import something, did I? Yeah, I did. I need to do that. Okay, and then in here, we should be able to just console.log the JSON. And so if I do, this is no db.js. Is that how you start it?
That's why I did npm start, but either way.
Oh, I guess that would work too. npm start. There is all your items in there, and if you look, here is all your JSON.
Okay.
So from here,
Yep.
you would be able to do something like for const item of JSON dot, and let me just look at this file quickly to see. It's too big to open. No, let me just see what the top of it looks like. Okay, it's just the array. So you would be able to say something like for item of JSON, and then you're going to want to do item dot create, and you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to await that. And then you could do whatever your, like name is going to be item dot name or something like that.
All right, let me stop my database first. Or let me stop the server so I don't.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right.
And there you go.
I don't see that file on the side anywhere.
What file on the side?
Oh, you went and looked at my items, JSON. All right, because you went looked. You said JSON. I changed it. No, hold on. I'm confused now. Where did you just go when you said it was just an array? Where did you go look at when you saw that?
Oh, I looked at this JSON file.
Oh, okay. I was all right. I thought that JSON. All right, never mind. Okay, it confused me for a second. All right, I'm good. And then,
yeah, I didn't know if you were storing this in like another object called items or something like that. So I just wanted to check to see what the data format was here before I looped through it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And then the other thing you'll probably want to do is some kind of check before all of this runs to say, like, if there is an item in the database already, don't run this code.
So there's going to be there is going to be repeat of items, but they're going to have different. Well, most of them are going to have a different fulfillment number.
Yep.
Store number. One thing I noticed though, and I got kind of nervous at the end of the code for a lot of lines, there's like every one of them has the same fulfillment number. So it changes to this number. And I'm thinking because it's like wine and stuff, and that they don't actually sell the wine at the Wegmans, but maybe there's somewhere where they can order it. But I have like all 7 files do that towards the end of the file.
So what you could do is you could check here and you could say like const item already exists, and then you could say await item dot find one where the fulfillment ID or fulfillment number, I'm just making that up, I don't know if that's
right.
What it's actually called, is from the item dot fulfillment num. I did no way I spelled that right. But then you could say if the item doesn't already exist, then create it.
So that's the thing. So they're all gonna have the same, excuse me, different stores have different items at different stores have different fulfillment store numbers. However, every item that's besides this liquor, every item that's within that store has the same fulfillment store number.
Okay.
Right, so let me show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, you got control. All right, so if you look here, it's 11, 21, 7, 21, 7, right on line 10.
Yep.
And same thing for line 22, but those are different items. Now, when I hit the bottom of the list, let me see quickly. Now, when I get to the bottom of the list, they switch to a different fulfillment number, but every list has that switch.
Okay, so do you want, what do you want to accomplish there? Do you want to filter out things that the fulfillment number doesn't match on? Or do you want to just still add everything no matter what?
I'd rather just get rid of the stuff, because the aisles are null, so it's obviously it's not in the store. And again, it's uniform across all 7 lists towards the end. So I'd rather just get rid of it.
So then in here, instead of looking for the item in the database, you could just say if the item has an aisle number, then create it, otherwise ignore it.
Okay, and that might, I hope it doesn't mess up some other stuff, but yeah, okay. That'll be the best for now, because this is gonna be a minimum viable product and I gotta get this going. All
Cool.
right. Thank you.
No problem. Is that what you wanted?
Is that what I wanted?
Yeah.
Once it gets to the database, I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Can stop sharing.
Yeah. Christy, go ahead.
Let me see. So I was trying to pull this up, and I feel like earlier today I didn't do a git push Heroku.
No, you just need an npm I. Module not found is almost always npm I. Don't forget to Control-C first.
Oh.
So always check to see you don't have your node modules folder. Well, you do now, but you didn't before, and that's how I knew you needed that npm I. So if you npm run start, it should work now. Good to go.
Thought I had broken it. Okay, so
Just refresh it. Look at that.
so I had a question. Wait a minute. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Oh,
No, one
Christy with
question
your
a
bad
day, you're
self.
done.
Huh?
Go on, Christy, with your bad self.
This is wearing me out. Where is it? Okay. So I just wanted to ask you about this because I saw this earlier. You see how they did this?
Yeah.
Do you think that would be better than the minus, or you think we need the minus to 20?
We need the minus. Well, do you like the look of this, or do you like the look of yours? We did the minus the 20, so there was space in between them.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know. I just saw this and I got no, that's the wrong thing. Where am
I mean,
yeah,
we did the 33%. We just minus the 20 so that there was space between.
remember. Okay. Okay, that's my only question.
So if you want them all up against each other, that's totally fine.
And no. And then where is it? Where is it? How do I in here, if I want to put a background color on the grid, would I just go in here and just put it in here?
Do you want it on the grid item or the whole grid?
Well, like these spaces, you know, like in between here and.
But you want the whole card to be white. So you want the card to have a white background, but the background of the grid be a color.
Yes.
So we just need to do we need to look at your favorites, and your favorites have, we don't want to apply it to the grid item because that's what has the card in it. We want to apply it to the grid itself.
Okay.
So if we just do, I'm going to borrow your background color here. Obviously, you can always adjust it.
Okay. Man, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So then if I wanted to do the back, if I wanted to put not, I don't want it to be like stark white. If I wanted to do a background color, because I got a color up top. That EEEBD3, if I wanted to use that color to do the background of the card.
You might need to target the card inside the grid item, but let's see what happens if we do this. Yeah, no, I don't like that. Let's do this instead. Let's say inside the grid item, there's a card, and that card is going to have a background color of that. I think it's changing. I can't say for sure, so I'm just gonna make it red.
Oh God, okay, just to see.
Just to see.
Yeah, it did, oh my God, okay.
It did? I can't see.
It was red, yes.
I'm just yanking your chain.
Oh, okay. I like this works.
Don't touch
Okay.
it, commit it, deploy it, you're done.
And then I know how to change I know how to change this out, so okay. All right, yep, I'm good, thank you.
Doug, go ahead.
I had a question on the blog, create new user.
Yes.
On the login page where online on your code on the front end, line 46, where you're checking if it is a new user, say your account has been created, please log in.
Yes.
You might have already, but could you explain the syntax of that?
So that's
is new user and
yeah, so
the logic of it.
Yeah. So this is the equivalent of saying if it is a new user, then show this. Otherwise, show this. To React, this is exactly the same as this. What ends up happening is that in React, it hits this ternary. The ternary is true, so it shows this component up instead, right? This is kind of some shorthand that says if this is true, then show this. But if this is false, we'll never hit this and statement. So this will never show up because this is already false.
Okay.
So this is React shorthand for this. And it's just someone who got clever with React syntax and realized because JavaScript won't execute the second part of this double and logic operator, because if this is false, this won't get executed. That means React won't show it if this is false. But if this syntax is more clear to you, this is also completely fine to use.
Okay, and is that specific to React, or would that work in JavaScript? Just in JavaScript? You probably, I guess you'd have to set it equal to something or something.
Let's see what happens. I don't think it would work in JavaScript, because if you did something like return, let's say like let bool equal true, and then we say return bool and some key tag with a test and console.log our test function. And look at that in the browser. Oh, look at that, it does work. It's returning the p tag. So if we do return test, apparently that does work in vanilla JavaScript.
Huh.
I do not know why I would have thought this would have returned true. Because bool was true and the value of this is true. So I would have assumed this would have equated out to true, not the second part of this. So that is outside the bounds of my JavaScript knowledge.
All right, well, I understand a little better what it does and why it works.
Okay, yeah, the answer is actually pretty simple. It stops at a false value and returns the last value. I would love to see the MDM documentation on that, but apparently React always returns in a series of logical operators, whatever the last logic operator is, if it does not hit a false. Today I learned. I knew that was the shorthand. I just didn't know that that was a JavaScript execution thing.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Great question. Nicole, go ahead.
I stole a bunch of code, but now I need help with some errors.
My code or someone else's code?
I just random blog code. Your code.
Oh, good. My code's easier to fix.
All right, so I have this one error because I just tried to make mine's a comment instead of a post because I don't have a blog and I kind of want there to be comments. So
Okay.
Yes.
So in app 25, whenever you get comment is not defined, it normally means you need to define it. And you define it with an import, but it's telling you the errors in app.js. So you use comment there. Where did you import comment?
I didn't.
So you need to do that.
Okay.
And then, okay, now you've got a different issue that says cannot resolve API URL in comment.js. So same. Oh, scroll up. Where you import it, API URL isn't in the same folder as comment. So try a dot slash. Maybe it's the next folder up. There you go. And now you're. Oh, no, just dot slash. No API URL. Because look at where comment is. Comment is in the components folder, and API URL is in the folder above it. So that's why you need a dot because you're going up one level.
Okay. Okay.
So it should just be dot slash API URL. And there you go. Those are just warnings. But that's not linking to your comments route that you just created.
Right. So can you help me with that quickly?
Mm-hmm. Just go to wherever the admin page is that link is and make it link to the comment instead. So scroll down because it's going to be in your return. And the link is on 54. Oh, 54, I think. And then you just made that comments. Right click inspect. Oh, there you go. Good work.
All right, thank you.
Larry, go ahead. It is 8:30. If you guys want to head out, you are more than welcome to. If you would like to stick around, don't get used to Nathan. I'm not going to be here until 10, but I will stick around for a little bit longer.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
What? 10?
Yeah.
When
I'm
was that?
crying.
What
Good
night was
night.
that?
Good night.
What night was that? Holy crap.
I think it was Thursday because I got a message from Nathan and it was like, I'm so sorry, but class went on for a while and I uploaded the video to Otter for like the transcript and Otter was like, hell no, like 4-hour limit, you're over the 4-hour limit, not importing that. And I had to like go in and cut off the last like 40 minutes to get it to import.
Oh wow.
Wayne was on, he got
Oh.
up. Hey.
I feel like I am
Because I had my
missing
son that night,
an
so it was
async.
like, yeah, kind of hectic. Yeah.
All good.
I feel like 'cause I have to wait right here. I don't have an async in this section anymore.
So does it run without any errors?
Well,
Or
let
does
me
it
try.
tell you you need the async? The newer versions of Node don't require async
It
at the
crashed.
top level. Scroll up.
Oh wait, it's
no.
only invalid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Control C.
So you would need to just
Make a
put it,
function here.
yep, and then just call the function on 74.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll try that.
Yep. The only reason why you need hold on, share your screen again. I'm going to show you a more efficient way of doing that.
Desktop 3.
So technically, and Doug ran into this, and I think you might do the same thing. When you create this many items, the database would rather insert 10,000 things all at once than insert 10,000 things one by one. And so the way we can do that is with the, is it insert many, Doug, or create many?
I'll have to look at my code. I don't remember off.
Bulk create, that's what it is.
Yes,
So
that-
up here, we say let to create equal an empty array. And then instead of actually creating the item, we say to create dot push in that item. And then once you are done going over each individual item, you're going to get a mega big array. And what you can do is say item.bulk create. And everything that you're going to bulk create is in the to create array.
Okay.
So that's just a slightly more efficient way. Doug was doing it from the front end. And so he was making like 10,000 GET requests. And it overloaded the Express server, couldn't keep track of all those requests. So doing it this way will basically do, 8 inserts with 50,000 items each instead of doing 50,000 inserts.
And with mine also, I don't know if it was from the front end, but I ran into trouble even with the bulk create. So I took the big array and I just did it like 1,000 items at a time.
I got like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, when I saw the number, it was like
500 something.
Wow.
Well, it's gonna get rid of some of them because of the liquor. But what am I thinking about? My life equals async.
Now, see, if it were my capstone, the only items in the database would be liquor. You're missing the C in async.
Okay, thank you. And then I think it was here.
If you click on it, it should show you, well, try it. Worst case scenario. Sorry, I'm so used to coding with Prettier that it's hard for me to write code without it.
Okay, then after this call,
I think you're missing one closing curly brace.
that will show that, oh yeah, what happens to the line is different function then?
I think it's just the curly brace, so if you put it in, it should be okay.
All right, why, okay. And then down here, call it. Load, proper spell, load item data. Boom. Hold on here. Cross my fingers.
Would you put more than one spot?
Oh, is your bulk create inside your loop?
Oh shit, yeah, control C that, Larry. Move your item.bulk create to outside the for loop on 59.
He said outside. This is that. This is the brown one. All right, so after the brown one.
Yeah.
Thanks for the catch, Doug.
No problem.
And then one last thing that I like to do is, because this is going to take so long to run, I would do something like let's say, let's store num equal, oh, you know what? We've got access to the file name, so let's just use that. So I would say let items equal 0, and then say something like, oops. Items plus plus, and then when we get through all of the items, set items back to 0. And then in here, we can do something like console.log store and the item items, and then we can say something like if items is divisible by 100. So that's going to say every 100 items that you hit, it's just going to log it out so we can see it in process. And then the other thing we can do is like starting insert and then console.log insert done. And just because this is long running code, all of those console logs will show us like as it's running what it's doing. So go ahead and fire it up and let's see what it does.
All right. PMST and pray.
Okay, well, interesting. Scroll up a little bit.
Undefined reading category ID.
But if you go up a little bit more, it will actually show you that it got through 3,347. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say here, I'm going to do a triple equal 0 because that's what I forgot. And then up here, whatever item you hit, it didn't actually have a category, so it didn't have the ID. And so what we can do is a chain.
Can I show you that? Well, let me show you the thing real quick.
Let me just modify this one and this one. And now if category is null, it won't error out. It will just put in null for you.
All right. But, all right. Let's stop that for a second. Control C. All right. If you look here, so maybe I'm not accessing it the correct way. All right. So when I look here, it has category. And then inside of the thing, it does have an ID.
It just one of the items didn't have a category. So it got through 3,000 of your items and was fine. And then it got to an item that didn't have a category and was like, well, I can't get an ID of null, and it crashed.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I said in the code. I said, go get the category. And if the category doesn't exist, just make the whole thing null.
Make the whole thing null? So
Well, make the category column null.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, to say I know I have a category ID.
Yeah, no, you were getting it right. It was just that one, and that's what we call sanitizing the data, because there's that one thing that doesn't have a category, and it crashes the whole system.
Thank you.
No problem. Christy.
I figured it out.
Okay.
That seems like not enough stuff.
I-
Did it
I-
really find all that stuff that fast?
I want, can I
I
go?
guess it did.
Go check in your beekeeper and see how many items are in the table.
Mhm.
I want to hear your results. I want to know if you.
Beekeeper, Capstone, items. Let's refresh maybe. Let me share my screen. That seemed like it was too fast.
Larry, next up, I'm giving you the FDA drug database, and you can import all of that. 533,000 items in your database.
It honestly, that might be right then. It might be. Whatever. I'm good with that. I don't care if it's not right.
So comment out that function to make sure it doesn't run every time you restart the server now.
Okay, now I just gotta get the right stores in there. Okay, thank you.
Because otherwise you're gonna end up with 1 million records really quick.
That's
All right,
crazy.
but look, I'm kind of wondering though, why is it like that? Because maybe because we got rid of the liquor. Okay, because I'm saying looking at the liquor, those are lines. They're not necessarily the items. All right, I get it now.
They're rows, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me see. No, I'm just saying I'm looking at the file, and each file has about 500 or something thousand.
Correct. Yeah, those are the lines.
But
though.
those are just the item, right? It's not the item itself because they take up. Yeah, okay, it makes sense now. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like it roughly takes up 10 lines. So if you divide that number by 10 or by 12 or count it out, that should get you closer.
Right. Then I got rid of the ones, the 42,736 IDs. So all right, cool. Thank you so much. That's a big weight off my shoulders. So now I just gotta try to tackle this front end stuff. That's gonna be crazy.
Good luck.
I see some tutorials, but and Doug, I'm gonna pick your brains too if need be.
Oh, absolutely. I
All
was
right.
I was on the edge of my seat watching.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
definitely around if you want to confer on anything.
Appreciate you.
Nicole, go ahead.
Can you get it to where like I can actually make a comment so I can see if other things are like working, like my buttons and stuff?
Depending on how far behind you are, let me take a look.
Oh, okay.
So you click on new comment. So do you have like the post editor page set up?
Yes, I named it comments, I think. I named it something, but I did do it. I think I did my comment the same as your post editor, and I did. If you
Okay, so this is comment, and in app.js, here's your comment. So in your admin, when you link to this, you need to link to comment. And now you can do a test and a test. I'm going to pop open the console preemptively. Okay, now you got failed to fetches. So now your back end is down. So there's no way the front end is going to be able to add anything to it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So your back end is down because
it's a dot post in there. I see. I think. I don't know. I give up.
okay, let me refresh.
And I couldn't find that class name. I just couldn't find it.
Okay, you've got other stuff going on here. You're Post is going to undefined on comment 14. So let's look at that to get started.
Okay. That's the front end.
Well, when you finish, Max, maybe you could help me with my issue with the uploading the
That you're gonna
stuff
have to
about-
do for a one-on-one, Wayne, just because I don't have an easy fix for you, and I want to do some homework before I help you on that. So if you
Okay.
can schedule a one-on-one with me, and if the times don't work, just shoot me a message and we'll find a time that does.
I think I did one tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm right.
Max, if you could just mute me.
Yeah. Wayne, I do not see you in my calendar.
No, not at all.
Oh, I see you in for Thursday.
It's Thursday? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. You ain't got no time tomorrow? 15.
I'm really booked up tomorrow. I might be able to do 3:15.
I'll be there.
Okay. I'll send you a Zoom link closer to that time.
Okay. Guys, have a good night and God bless.
Okay, that takes care of
Same to you,
that.
Wayne.
All right.
Nicole, can you open your post file for me? Oh, well, hold on. I'm gonna unmute you, or if you are available to unmute. Okay, so it's in comment 14.
I'm not doing a blog, so I thought if I just made it like if I do a comment, like if they comment on something, then it would just be that instead of like a post.
Oh, okay, so you're missing the ID here.
You have two splashes.
And then remember how we did it on the admin page? We said if you want to create a new post, you're going to go to the post /new. Otherwise, you go to comment and whatever the comment post ID is.
Okay.
So this. Okay, so let's try that. So we need to restart your backend because you made it angry before. And now if we go back, here's your admin. And it hasn't crashed yet. It's mad that you don't have a login status, but that's okay. If we go to new comments, now still hasn't crashed. So we say test and test2 and hit post. Okay, get patch post, but now you're posting to comment. So you really need to be careful here. If you're gonna modify this, you need to, before you change it, you need to go through your code and identify all the different places that that's used. Because now you're intermixing comment with post and you're getting lost. So remember, the whole point of this capstone is not to have a functional product.
Please.
Yep. It is to make sure that you understand all of this code, and banging your head against the keyboard and just changing things isn't going to get you there. What you need to do is follow this through and say, where in my front end do I reference this post comment? And based off of that, that's where I want to make the changes. So me fixing all of this and getting it working for you isn't gonna get you anywhere unless you understand it. So I want you to go through and work on this and say, okay, if I change this post comment here, what do I need to change in the front end?
Got it. Thanks.
If you get stuck, I'm happy to help you and keep scheduling one-on-ones. I don't want to discourage you from that, but we reach a point where it's like, all right, there needs, you want to suffer through all of this so that the understanding is sinks in a little bit more.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Right. I have an easy question. When you hover over a button that was blue, I changed the color and I changed the hover, but it's still outlined in blue.
Share your screen really quickly. Bootstrap can be a little pain with its hover.
And I changed the hover. See, like how it's, see how it's
Let
still
me
blue?
see your CSS. And give me control. It's your button hover should have a border of none. Fixed it. Whoa. Well,
Wait. Oh, it's supposed to turn yellow. I did that. I'm gonna fix it, but yeah. I just didn't want that blue line.
yeah, what I'm gonna recommend is because there is some border on it. So I'm gonna take the same border that you used up here, but just set it to the same background color, and that will make it not jump around. There you go. So now it's not like jumping and resizing and all of that.
Okay. So then look, so then now when I set up my one-on-one, I don't have to use my time for that one. Thank you. I'm stepping away. My neck is hurting. My eyes are hurting.
Well, I can go until 10 if you want. I mean, I know you're missing Nathan.
No, listen, that was a fluke. Please believe we couldn't get our code working, and he just said he wouldn't feel right. Like leaving us to where our code wasn't working. And some of us, he still like Doug couldn't get to where he needed to get to. So
I'm just imagining signing in and Nathan's like going hard at the computer and like all of you guys are like passed out with your cameras on.
Right. Okay.
That's about the size of it.
All right, I'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.